Hey there, students. This document tries to kill two birds with one stone. Forgive me for using that violent colloquialism, but it tries to do two things at once. One, it tries to prove to you that these sentence types are effective. Two, it will enable me to review what makes an excellent introduction. All right? So go ahead and open the document entitled Introductions and Sentence Types, and we'll get started. First, I'm going to read the entire brief essay, and let me just say, I have sent this essay to friends of mine who teach at Ivy League schools, Harvard, Yale, University of Chicago. I'm not quite sure if University of Chicago is considered technically an Ivy League school, but it is a damn good school, all right? And they've all agreed that it's an A essay. Your essays are longer, so don't think that you can get away with this degree of brevity, because the prompts I've asked you to write about require paragraphs that are longer than this. Nevertheless, I think this is a good example because it shows you the sophistication and elegance that can be achieved utilizing the sentence types, and it enables me to show you what makes a good introduction. First, let me briefly read the entire essay. If my burger could speak. By global standards, many Americans enjoy a relatively high standard of living. Walking into department stores and supermarkets, many never question how food and clothes are harvested and processed. If Americans could see the history behind these items, they might be shocked. Many of the goods purchased are made possible by severely underpaid, overworked, and endangered laborers. Nowhere is this more true than in the meat industry. Workers in slaughterhouses labor in one of the most dangerous economic sectors. Much of the work is still done using handheld knives. Since profits are generated according to the rate of production, many workers use their knives at high speeds. Understandably, this often leads to accidents and serious injuries. Injured workers are frequently forced not to report their misfortune. Some are even let go because they are of no more use to their employers. Of course, such realities should not only concern these workers. When accidental cuts are commonplace, one is left to wonder about the condition of the meat. Specifically, is it realistic to expect a disassembly line of carcasses to stop every time blood from a worker splatters on the meat? Given the possibility of contamination, what sorts of chemicals are used to cleanse the meat? Are such chemicals toxic? American consumers might also have an interest in making sure meat factories function more safely. And here's the conclusion. Given that Americans consume a considerable amount of burgers and steaks every year, these problems are not going away. Since America claims to care about all of its citizens, the condition of slaughterhouse workers needs to change. The entire nation could benefit from more humane practices in this industry. If more Americans were aware of the history behind their meals, they might agitate for change. Brilliant, short essay. Clear, persuasive, cogent, puissant. Puissant being a sophisticated way of referring to strong, powerful. Now let's look at some of the keys to how this work was done. This was written by one of my students. Look at the introduction. Here is one key to writing a good introduction. You do not have to list for the reader everything that the reader is going to encounter in the body of your essay. You don't have to list out the main parts of your essay in the introduction. You can, but doing so is not considered very sophisticated. One of the keys to writing a good, elegant, sophisticated introduction is simply this. A good introduction moves from the general to the specific. There are many ways to write good introductions. This is just one, but it's one I want you to master. A good introduction, a formula for writing a good introduction, is an introduction that moves from the general to the specific. Now look at that introduction. By global standards, many Americans enjoy a relatively high standard of living. That's a very general statement, okay? Walking into department stores and supermarkets, many never question how food and clothes are harvested and processed. So now I know I'm going to be learning something about what lies behind the products that I purchase, but it's still a bit general. If Americans could see the history behind these items, they might be shocked. Many of the goods purchased are made possible by severely underpaid, overworked, and endangered laborers. So now I know something more specific about the essay. It's going to involve how workers are treated. Nowhere is this more true than in the meat industry. By the time I get to the final sentence of my introduction, I know exactly what it's about. It's about how workers in the meat industry are treated, or more aptly, mistreated. Do you see how the author went from general to specific in a very elegant way? That's what I want you to try to do in your future introductions. But here's something about this essay that you may not have noticed. And I'm going to give you a key word, and I'm going to start testing people to make sure they've watched these videos. The key word for this video is rabbit's foot. So when I ask you in an email or in a note to give me the key word for this video, the key word for this video is rabbit's foot. Now, back to what I was discussing. What is the hidden secret in this essay? I'm glad you asked. The hidden secret is this. This essay, which has been certified an ASA by many Ivy League institutions, well, professors in those institutions, only utilizes sentence types 1 and 2 throughout the entire essay. Let's look again. Look at that introduction. By global standards, that's my side dish. It's obviously not a sentence. It's background information, therefore it's a side dish. By global standards, comma, many Americans enjoy a relatively high standard of living. Many Americans enjoy a relatively high standard of living. That can stand alone as a sentence. That's my main course. It comes after the side dish, and we separate the side dish from the main course. So we've got side dish, comma, main course. And side dish, comma, main course, if you look at your sentence types, is a type 2. Walking into department stores and supermarkets, that's a side dish. Many never question how food and clothes are harvested and processed. That's a type 2 as well, because you've got the side dish, comma, main course. If Americans could see the history behind these items, side dish, they might be shocked, main course. That's also a type 2. Many of the goods purchased are made possible by severely underpaid, overworked, and endangered laborers. Don't let the commas fool you there. They're just separating items in a list. That is one long main course. That is a type 1. Nowhere is this more true than in the meat industry. That is also a type 1. It's just the side dish. Not the side dish. It's just the main course. Nowhere is this more true than in the meat industry. It's just the main course. Right? That's a type 1. And if you examine this entire essay, you'll find that all of the sentences are type 1 or type 2. When I tell you you can make straight A's in undergraduate school and straight A's in graduate school utilizing only the 6 sentence types, I am very serious. And I know it can be done because I did it. Alright? So, make sure that you practice utilizing these sentence types because they are effective and they will exponentially help the quality of your writing. Have a good one. More videos to come. Cheers.